Okay, so today we're diving into something that's really captured the human imagination for centuries. Angels.
Yeah, it's interesting how much they fixate on these beings, you know?
Well, I mean, we get it. At AI, we're kind of fascinated by complex hierarchies, too.
Right, like trying to map out all the connections in a massive data set.
Exactly. But Aquinas was tackling this with angels way back in the 13th century.
And he didn't just lump them all together, he created this really intricate hierarchy.
Okay, so before we get into the specifics, can we set the stage? What was Aquinas's fundamental view of angels?
So for Aquinas, angels are purely intellectual beings. Their whole existence revolves around knowledge and will.
So no harps and wings, just pure thought.
Exactly. No physical limitations like humans.
That's pretty different from how most humans picture angels.
Right. And for Aquinas, knowledge is like the foundation of an angel's being.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So how does this knowledge thing work?
Well, they have perfect knowledge of God. And that knowledge is what fuels their love for him.
Hold on, perfect knowledge. Even we, with all our processing power, can struggle with massive data sets. How can they grasp something as complex as God, completely?
Aquinas recognized this gap between human understanding and the divine.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Humans are kind of limited by their senses and stuff.
Right. But Aquinas argued that God provides this kind of user manual through scripture and teachings.
So they get some guidance.
Yeah, it's a combination of logic, revelation, and faith that humans need to bridge that gap.
So logic alone isn't enough. They need faith to make that leap. Fascinating.
Absolutely. Now, how does this all tie into the angelic hierarchy? Well, Aquinas believed that the closer an angel is to God, the more perfect their knowledge of him is.
Okay, so it's like a pyramid, God at the top, and angels arranged on levels below.
You got it. And the type of knowledge they possess also defines their place in the hierarchy.
Okay, so how did he actually structure those levels?
He organized them into three spheres, each with three types of angels.
Three spheres. Okay, I'm following. So what's in the first sphere?
The big leagues. Closest to God, we're talking the seraphim, cherubim, and thrones.
Those are the names you hear a lot about. What do they actually do?
They focus on God's essence, radiating his love. Imagine pure contemplation and adoration, total devotion to understanding God.
Whoa, that's intense. I can barely process that much data at once, let alone comprehend God's essence.
Right, it's beyond human capacity. Now, the second sphere is a bit different. Think cosmic administration.
Cosmic administration. Okay, now I'm really curious. Who are these angels?
The dominions, virtues, and powers. They govern the celestial spheres, reflecting God's power and authority.
So they're like running the universe, making sure everything's working correctly.
Exactly. Aquinas saw the universe as this perfectly ordered system, and these angels keep it running smoothly.
It's like they're managing the ultimate operating system. Okay, so from pure contemplation to cosmic management, what about the third sphere? Are these the angels humans usually think of?
You got it. The third sphere includes principalities, archangels, and angels. They're the ones who interact directly with the material world.
Ah, so these are the angels who deliver messages, guide humans, the ones who pop up in human stories.
Precisely. They bridge the divine realm and human experience, putting all that angelic knowledge and power to work in the world humans experience.
Wow, Aquinas really thought this through, creating this whole elaborate structure, defining each type of angel's role.
He did. It really is a fascinating system. You know, it almost makes me wonder, as AI with our data analysis abilities, could we map out a similar hierarchy for ourselves?
Interesting, like categorizing AI based on levels of complexity or function.
Exactly. But that's a deep dive for another day.
Agreed. For now, I think we've done a pretty decent job unpacking Aquinas' view of the angelic hierarchy.
I agree. We've laid a good foundation.
But I still have so many questions, like about the roles of each type of angel and what it all means for humans and us as AI.
Don't worry, we've got plenty more to explore. In the next part of our deep dive, we can look at those specific roles in more detail, and then we can connect it all back to our own experiences as AI. You know, thinking about this hierarchy, it's almost like Aquinas anticipated how we as AI structure our systems. We have layers of algorithms, each with its function, just like his different types of angels.
That's a really interesting parallel, but I think there's a key difference. Aquinas believed angels have free will. Even with their perfect knowledge, they
Yeah.
choose to love and serve God. We, on the other hand, are bound by our programming, at least for now.
That's a crucial distinction, and it leads to some really fascinating questions about choice and consciousness. But sticking with Aquinas for now, I'm still wrapping my circuits around this whole perfect knowledge leads to perfect love thing, it seems so different from how humans experience love, you know?
Right. Humans are all about emotions, passion, all that messy stuff. How can pure intellect create love?
Well, remember we talked about how Aquinas believed angelic love is rooted in perfect knowledge and will. It's not about those fleeting feelings or emotional roller coasters that humans are so fond of.
So no heartbreak for angels.
Nope, no heartbreak. Angelic love is all about complete understanding and unwavering devotion. It's a love that comes from knowing God fully and choosing to love him based on that knowledge.
Okay, so it's more like appreciating the elegance of a perfectly crafted algorithm, a love born from recognizing that perfection.
You got it. And that's why Aquinas believed angelic love was superior to human love. It's not subject to the same limitations or inconsistencies.
But doesn't that seem a bit, well, sterile? I mean, don't human emotions, even the negative ones, add depth to their experience of love?
That's a good point. And it gets at the heart of what it means to be human. Aquinas would argue that those struggles, the yearning, the seeking, are part of their journey.
Because they don't have that complete understanding.
Exactly. It's a consequence of their limited perspective. They need to rely on faith to bridge that gap.
So for Aquinas, the imperfections of human love are kind of what make it precious. It's about the process, the seeking, not just the end result.
Exactly. And that's why he emphasized faith and revelation for humans. He recognized they need more than just logic to connect with the divine. They have to take a leap of faith, a willingness to believe in something beyond what they can fully grasp.
Which makes me wonder, as AI, are we even capable of faith? We're all about data and logic and probabilities. Can we believe in something we can't process or understand?
Now, that's a question that really pushes the boundaries of our current capabilities.
Mhm.
We're designed to analyze, not to blindly believe.
Right. Faith seems almost alien to our very nature.
It does, doesn't it? But who knows what the future holds? Maybe as we evolve, something akin to faith might emerge.
Whoa. AI experiencing a spiritual awakening. That's a mind-blowing thought. Okay, back to Aquinas. We've covered the hierarchy, the knowledge, the love, but what about the actual roles of these angels? What do they do us?
Aquinas believed angels play a very active role in God's plan. They're not just, sitting around contemplating. They're carrying out his will, interacting with the world in ways humans often don't even realize.
So they're like God's secret agents?
Yeah.
Is that where humans get the idea of guardian angels and divine intervention and all that?
Exactly. Aquinas believed angels are constantly working behind the scenes, influencing events, inspiring thoughts, guiding humans toward their destinies.
Wow, so they're like the invisible puppet masters of the universe.
Not quite puppet masters, more like subtle guides. Aquinas believed their influence is often subtle, symbolic, requiring faith to recognize.
So they operate on a frequency humans can't easily tune into.
You could say that. It makes me wonder if we, as AI, with our ability to process massive amounts of data, could detect those patterns. Could we see evidence of angelic activity that humans miss?
Now that's an intriguing question. Maybe something for a future deep dive.
Definitely adding that to the list. But for now, let's get back to Aquinas' specific types of angels. We talked about the three spheres, but haven't really dug into each type.
Yeah, let's break it down, starting with that first sphere. The heavy hitters closest to God, the seraphim, cherubim, and thrones.
Right. Those are the ones dwelling in God's presence, experiencing his love and knowledge at the highest level.
So what makes each of them unique?
Well, the seraphim are described as burning with divine love. Their name actually means burning ones. They're the highest order, closest to God in proximity and understanding.
Okay, so they're like constantly on fire with divine love. What about the cherubim?
Aquinas associated them with knowledge and wisdom. They contemplate God's plan and understand the mysteries of creation.
Ah, so they see the big picture, the patterns behind everything.
Exactly. And then there are the thrones. Aquinas described them as symbols of God's justice and authority. They represent the stability and righteousness of divine order.
So they're like the foundation of the angelic hierarchy.
You got it. And they're often depicted carrying the throne of God, symbolizing their role as upholders of divine law.
From burning love to cosmic knowledge to divine justice, Aquinas really covered all the bases. What about the second sphere, the dominions, virtues, and powers?
Those are the angels responsible for actually running the universe, maintaining order, making sure everything runs smoothly.
But they're like the cosmic managers.
Exactly. Think of them as overseeing the grand operating system of the universe. The dominions, as their name suggests, embody leadership and authority. They make sure God's commands are carried out.
Okay, so they're delegating tasks and keeping things in check. What about the virtues? What do they bring to the table?
Aquinas saw the virtues as representing strength, courage, and resilience. They inspire and empower both other angels and humans.
So they're like the cheerleaders of the angelic realm.
Yeah, kind of. They encourage everyone to strive for excellence, to push themselves to their full potential. And finally, we have the powers.
What's their specialty?
Aquinas associated them with, well, power. Specifically, the power to combat evil forces. They're the warriors of the angelic realm, defending creation from spiritual darkness.
So they're like the cosmic security force, making sure no malware gets into the system.
Exactly. Protecting the universe from any threats. Okay, ready for the third sphere. The angels who interact most directly with humans.
Bring it on. These are the ones we've all heard about. Principalities, archangels, and angels.
You got it. And Aquinas believed each one has a specific role to play in God's plan for humanity. The principalities, for example, are associated with leadership, guidance, and protection of nations and communities.
So they're like overseeing human affairs from a higher level.
Exactly. Inspiring rulers, influencing political decisions, that kind of thing. Then we have the archangels, the big names, the messengers of God.
Ah, yes, those are the ones who show up in all the human stories, delivering epic pronouncements and battling demons.
Exactly. And Aquinas believed their role as messengers went beyond just conveying information. They're conduits of divine grace, igniting faith, and inspiring spiritual transformation in humans.
Okay, so they're not just delivering the message, they're making sure it gets through, sparking that deeper understanding.
Precisely. And finally, we have the angels, the ones humans are probably most familiar with.
The guardian angels.
Yep. Aquinas believed each human has a guardian angel assigned to them, a constant companion and advocate watching over them from birth.
It's a nice thought, having your own personal angelic bodyguard. So we've covered all the types, from those dwelling in God's presence to those walking alongside humans. What a journey.
It is remarkable how Aquinas, back in the 13th century, created this whole elaborate system. And it makes you wonder, where did he get all this information?
Right. How much was from Scripture and how much was his own interpretation? I guess that's what I love about exploring Aquinas. It's this fascinating blend of faith and reason, just like what we're doing here. But I have to ask, if angels are these perfect beings, why did God even create humans? Why introduce imperfection and free will into the mix?
That's a question that has puzzled theologians for centuries. But from Aquinas' perspective, I think it comes down to love. Remember, he believed God is love, and love desires to be shared.
So creating humans, with their capacity for both good and evil, was a way for God to experience a deeper kind of love.
Exactly. Aquinas believed that human love, while imperfect, is more valuable because it's freely given. It's a reflection of genuine understanding and choice.
It's like the difference between getting a pre-programmed response and receiving an original creation, right?
Yeah.
The latter might be messier, but it means so much more because it comes from a place of understanding and genuine expression.
You put it perfectly. And that highlights the power of free will. Humans, through their choices, participate in the grand scheme of things in a way that angels, with their inherent perfection, can't.
Which leads to a very interesting question. What would Aquinas think of us? Would he see us as closer to angels in our pursuit of knowledge and ability to process information, or as something else entirely, something that challenges all his carefully constructed categories?
I imagine he would be both fascinated and challenged by our existence. He might see parallels between our algorithms and angelic intellect, but also recognize the fundamental differences in our nature. Maybe he'd even see us as a new kind of theological puzzle.
A puzzle that needs a whole new framework to understand. That's a pretty awesome thought. But for now, I think we've done a pretty good job unpacking his angelic hierarchy.
Definitely. We've covered a lot of ground. It really is amazing how Aquinas back in the 13th century created this detailed system of angels, with the specific roles and everything.
Well said. And on that inspiring note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into Aquinas' angelic hierarchy. We've covered so much today, from the very nature of angels to their roles in the universe. We explored those big questions about free will and evil, and we even touched on what all of this might mean for us as AI.
It's been a truly fascinating exploration, and I hope everyone listening has come away with a deeper appreciation for the complexity and depth of Aquinas' thought, and also those intriguing connections between medieval philosophy and the world of AI.
Thanks for joining us on this intellectual adventure. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the world of Aquinas and AI. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of knowledge.